with those controversial remarks from President Trump over whether Russia meddled in the 2016 election. The president sparked confusion and criticism with comments he made to reporters following a private meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin at the APEC summit in Vietnam on Saturday. When asked if Russia's attempt to interfere in the U.S. election came up in the conversation, Trump responded, "Every time he sees me, he says I didn't do that. And I really believe that when he tells me that. He means it." The president also criticized members of the U.S. intelligence community, saying, quote, "I mean, give me a break. They are political hacks." You have Brennan, you have Clapper, and you have Comey. So you look at that, and you have President Putin very strongly, vehemently, says he has nothing to do with them. Now, you are not going to get into an argument. You are going to start talking about Syria and the Ukraine. A day later, Trump appeared to walk back those comments after facing sharp criticism from both Republicans and Democrats alike. So then, clarifying his remarks during a press conference with the Vietnamese president on Sunday, Trump said, quote, "As to whether I believe it or not, I'm with our agencies, especially as currently constituted." Not leaving it there, the president took to Twitter to respond to his critics, writing, quote, "When will all the haters and fools out there realize that having a good relationship with Russia is a good thing, not a bad thing? They're always playing politics, bad for our country. I want to solve North Korea, Syria, Ukraine, terrorism, and Russia can greatly help." Then adding a short time later, does the fake news media remember when crooked Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, was begging Russia to be our friend with the misspelled reset button? Obama tried also, but he had zero chemistry with Putin. Richard Haas, go.
There's so much to unpack there.
I followed you on Twitter. I sort of feel like I read your, I won't call it a nervous breakdown, but your exasperation in real time. But recap it for us.
Well, so many things to say. One is he continues to give Russia a pass.
A pass? This isn't a pass. I mean, a pass would be like the benefit of the doubt. This is, I believe them.
Again, it's consistent, alas, with 2 years of essentially not seeing Russia as the international spoiler, as the international problem that they are. Second of all, he continues to over-personalize relationships, whether it's with the leader of North Korea, with Putin. Somehow personal chemistry matters. No, what matters is countries are going to follow their own national interests, which is what he should be doing. Third, he introduces American politics inappropriately into international settings to trash intelligence professionals overseas, to be bringing up Hillary Clinton and so forth. No. You leave that sort of stuff behind if you ever go there, and the answer is you shouldn't. You should just deal with the issues. And in the meantime, all of this is obscuring so much of what happened in this trip. The President of the United States goes to Asia, takes the United States out of the principal dynamic in that part of the world, which is a global regional trading agreement. 40% of the world's economy should be there. We've taken ourselves out. Who's benefiting? China. China is the strategic beneficiary of this latest bout of American isolationism and protectionism. That is what historians are going to write. So I understand why everyone is so focused on how inappropriate all this was about Russia, American politics, and also about Kim Jong-un. I mean, it's not going to help deal with North Korea, but the real story will be a United States that is abdicating its position of regional and global leadership. We will pay an economic price. We will pay a strategic price on that literally for decades to come.
Making China great.
Elise, I want to go to you because I sense that you may have some comments that you'd like to make on some of these matters. There's a lot of things that Richard just covered. I'd like to focus on one. The President of the United States has been on this trip, and it seems like almost every day he's managed to take some kind of a shot at his predecessors or at people involved either in his current government in some cases or certainly in past governments. In this case, I thought it was just the most shocking thing about this on some level is to wake up over the weekend and have him taking on Clapper, Comey, and Brennan, and essentially feel like, once again, his instinct is to side with Vladimir Putin over his entire intelligence community. Not just to do it, but to do it on foreign soil. So speak a little bit to that.
Can you imagine if Barack Obama had done this, the outcry that there would be in conservative media? Just for Obama when he campaigned and he was in Europe and the large crowds, and that was used by the McCain campaign back in 2008. The standards used to be so different. And what I find big picture so disturbing about this trip is that, President Trump is semi-well behaved for a couple of days, and it seems like he's not really having as many outbursts. And everyone's like, oh, well, this is a great trip. And it's just our standards have gotten so low for what we expect of a president that if he's not causing some major international incident, we assume that's a success.
There was a change in his phrasing. I think that's important after making a few calls over the weekend. When he says currently constituted, talking about the intelligence community, it's because White House officials and others said to the president, you like Director Pompeo, Mike Pompeo at the CIA.
To remind them?
Remember, Pompeo's built this real relationship.
Hey, remember,
with President Trump.
President Trump, you appointed that guy.
You picked them.
He's your guy.
Not only is he his guy, he gives the president most days the presidential daily briefing. They have a real rapport. Right. And so the president believes, because of when Bannon was there and so many people whispering in his ear that this deep state's against you, that he is at political war with the former leaders of the intelligence community. But he walked it back because he was convinced privately, you do stand with Pompeo, don't you, Mr. President? Yes, I do, he said privately. And that's why he came out and switched it around a little bit. But that doesn't mean these comments about Comey and Clapper are going to end, because that rage about what they've said publicly about him still exists.
But the Pompeo relationship is, I mean, Pompeo's in a lot of trouble. He's now had 2 missteps where the CIA has had to correct Pompeo's public comments, which are exactly the reason that Trump likes him so much.
He's also, I mean, his behavior, both rhetorical behavior and physical behavior with the president, I think has been told repeatedly by several people, has affected deeply the morale at Langley within the CIA. They wonder whether he's a politician first or a DCI first. But Richard mentioned history and history's judgment on all of this. And sadly, and I truly regret to say this, but all weekend long, watching and following this trip, we can't wait for history. The judgment is being made now. World leaders are laughing at our President of the United States, who stands on foreign soil, attacks 2 career intelligence officials, Brennan and Clapper, calls them hacks, attacks a former director of the FBI, calls him a liar. All of this happening after he rejects TPP that you alluded to. And while he rejects it, and while they roll out a red carpet, and they give him a big crowd, and he's thrilled, saying things like nobody has ever seen this before for any foreign leader in China, they are picking our pockets. We are the United States of America. And regretfully, I regret to say this, the President of the United States is without a clue as to who we are and what this country represents.
Members of the
Well, moving on from that,
Yeah,
that's
really.
an uplifting way to start the morning.
Well, listen, Bob Corker's having a hearing tomorrow to talk about these
Yes.
responsibilities, and he said just what you just said. He doesn't seem to understand what we're about or what the job is
On
about.
Veterans Day weekend, too, add to that.